On this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone, we're going to do a review on the Wednesday Night War, see how it goes, what matches were great, what matches weren't. But let's start with this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Deleted Wrestle Zone. I'm J-Rod here. Well, this week of the Wednesday Night War became interesting in regarding of the views and rating. This is something that now has become very unusual, or how to say original or unique, however it is. For the second week in a row, NXT won the viewership with against AEW. So here are the viewers they got. They received about 692,000 views, while Dynamite has 683,000 views. So that's like about maybe over 10,000 or something like that. But the interesting is AEW won the ratings on this one with the rate of 2.5, NXT 1.7. So it's kind of now becoming unusual. But the reason I believe the NXT has been winning was because they're still trying to throw in some great content. That's something that has been spoken about with other wrestling outlets, such as the Square Circle Psychobabble, Destination Pro Wrestling. I can name a few. Now, this is not the end of AEW. Just keep in mind, they do got an extension for 2023. But here's the thing. All their events were pre-taped. So they got a lot of video that it's worth all the way to mid-May. And they're talking about the whole thing with Double or Nothing that's going to take place a week after the scheduled date. Now, still no clue how they're going to do this, but it is pay-per-view. So I'm going to get this out there so all of you can go, understand. If you purchase tickets for AEW Dynamite, Double or Nothing, you have two options. Either you can refund your ticket, get your money back, or hold on your ticket for a year and you can go to Double or Nothing next year. So it's because now it's been talking that they may not have a live events for almost a year. Now, can the wrestling business survive? Well, right now AEW and WWE are the only two promotions that are still currently in that kind of category. So, but on a technical term, because of NXT winning the viewers, AEW winning the ratings, the only conclusion is the fans win. You're probably thinking, you must be out of your mind, J-Rod. You must be stupid. No. The reason is this. I watch both shows. I DVR both of them. That's how it works. I enjoy everything. I lost my love for SmackDown and Raw for a long time. I only pay attention when certain stories are interesting that I've been hearing on social media. So that's how it is for me these days. But NXT has been the one brand within the WWE I've always been fairly interesting. So let's get started with NXT since they won the viewership on this one. Alright, so let's start with NXT. So it opened up with the recap of two matches. The latter match for the number one contender to face Charlotte Flair for the NXT Championship title, which was totally awesome. I do like the idea of Io Shirai finally going to get her match against Charlotte for the title. I feel like she deserves a run for that title. But we'll see when we get there. And the next one was the final confrontation between both Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, which was epic. Because there were only two matches they have. It was pretty much unique. So now the first match is started with Finn Balor versus Imperium Fabian Archner, or whatever how it's called, the Italian guy from Pyramid, and he wasn't alone. He had Marcel Barthel, who was right there always. And you know how Imperium are; they try to prove their dominance as always. Um, we know Finn Balor in NXT UK has gone through Alexander Wolf, you know, and now he's going. And this was a good match. I enjoyed what he was doing. Finn Balor throughout the entire match, he was having his eyes open, knowing that Barthel was right there watching him, knowing that he could get involved at any given time, which he's always been Imperium has been always been known for, to ensure that Imperium remain victorious as they're supposed to be, even though they're claiming that it's all about honor and sacred of the ring, you know, that type of thing. But sadly, Finn Balor took the victory and he did it, and this time he's getting close to his new goal, which is to beat Walter for the NXT United Kingdom Championship. That is a match I'm very excited, but also and anxious to see. I know you guys would. So that's how it's going to be for that. Now, the next thing we see, this was a match that's already been booked. More of the continuation with the feud between Aaliyah and Xia Li. Now, months ago, Xia Li broke Aaliyah's nose by doing one of those spinning kicks that she normally does, and it broke Aaliyah's nose. And then 2 weeks ago, Aaliyah showed up for a match against Xia Li for the a spot for the ladder match, and Aaliyah, they showed that she was attacked. We all knew right from the start it was Aaliyah. She thought she was going to have a free pass, but luckily William Regal took care of it. He decided to put Io Shirai in her place, and Aaliyah was not successful, but the rivalry still continued. Aaliyah admitted on Twitter that it was her who attacked Xia Li, but Xia Li this time was willing to get her payback towards Aaliyah for ruining her opportunity to get a spot at the ladder match, which is something that has been she's been trying to pursue. But luckily, it didn't go Aaliyah's way. Xia Li won with this kind of like a similar kick that what's his name, Will Ospreay does. You know, he does a spinning kick and land on the guy's back, and they go down to the ground. That is something that I've seen. I don't know if she got that from him or that was planned. I'm not 100% sure on that. And we see that Pete Dunne, he's unable to compete in NXT because of, you know, he's stuck in the UK due to what's been going on with the pandemic. But what's his name? His tag team partner Matt Riddle, he's been anxious to find out who he picked for his partner. Pete was not going to give him that satisfaction because he wanted him to be surprised who he picked. So that was like later on in the night. And then we see the first leg of the interim NXT Cruiserweight tournament out. Let me explain this one for you guys. Jordan Devlin is currently unable to compete to put the title on the line. He's stuck in Ireland, but they are going to continue with the Cruiserweight. So that means this is something that we've seen in MMA, where they have like an interim fighter who's taking control of the position until the actual champion comes back. So Jordan Devlin is currently the NXT champion, but they decided to move forward to find out who can take over that spot for the time being. Now, first match, Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Akira Tozawa. Now, Tozawa had already been NXT he was the Cruiserweight champion for less than a week until he lost, and I think many of us as fans would have loved to see him in a longer run as the Cruiserweight champion. But now he could very well be the guy who could win the tournament to win the Cruiserweight. I don't know, but I'm very excited to see that because that's what I feel that Tozawa needs. He needs to rebuild himself, be back in the title run for the Cruiserweight. So he won the match and it was awesome. I enjoyed this one. Then we see like a little promo with Hijo de Fantasma. He was coming out giving saying he's now part of the Group B of the Cruiserweight tournament. Now I'm gonna pause you for something that kind of hit me in the head when I saw Phantasma. And I spoke this with Ango from Destination Pro Wrestling. I started to think I know who's behind the recent kidnappings of Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild. We see wrestlers wearing masks like luchadores and suits. Is this a possibility that Phantasma could be behind the whole thing? Well, we may never know, but that's my theory. But we just gotta wait until we cross the bridge on that. So I'm very happy that he's gonna be involved. But I'm surprised that he's allowed to wear his mask. Because originally, this is what I do know. When Rey Mysterio first started out being in WWE, he already lost his mask, and Vince asked him to put his mask on. And we see Humberto Carrillo. In the past, he was known as uh, Ultimo Ninja, which was a character that he used while he was in the Crash. And when he was signed, they told him to take off the mask. And it's kind of weird that there's certain superstars they're allowing to take off the mask. They're saying they want them to take off the mask. Others who used to have masks and they lost it, to put it back on. I don't know what's the deal with, but I will talk about that maybe with someone I know. I'm thinking about bringing in Dominic. As you must know, I actually know this, but maybe Dominic can give me an insight on this one. But yeah, we'll see about it. Or if I catch him somewhere down the line, I would like to ask him that question because this is something that kind of how do I say this? That very interest. I just don't know why would they allow Hijo de Fantasma to wear a mask again, even though he lost it. But we'll just wait and see what's gonna happen. Hopefully, behind the story, can be told. Now the next match, this one was a match that was more of retribution. Ever since Tegan Knox was betrayed by her best friend Dakota Kai, she aligned herself have a new alliance with Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel cost her two matches. One, the street fight match in Takeover Portland. The second one, the steel cage. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, Tegan and Mia Yim threw her through a table, and she got pump kicked by Dakota Kai, and Raquel hasn't forgotten what she did to her. And this was a match that was already been booked. Now, much of the match was dominated by Raquel, and it's of course Dakota was trying to help her make sure she wins. But what happened next? Shotzi Blackheart, a woman who was undefeated during the gauntlet match for the um, for the second chances of the shows up, attacks Dakota Kai, and then Raquel Gonzalez was not too happy that she was there, but Tia Knox sneaked one out, and she actually won the match. And this is not far from over. It's already been announced that Tia Knox and Shotzi Blackheart are going to team up for the first time against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. So that is something we are expecting for next week's episode. Um, then we see Keith Lee talking about his past, about how he felt like his destiny was already written. You see, originally he was supposed to be playing football, something we've been familiarized with many athletes. Like The Rock is one of those guys that was playing college football, but never played in the NFL. But Keith Lee has proven that a guy of his size can do anything. He can do beyond what people say. You can't do that. You're too big. But he's proven, and I have to say, I can't wait what he's going to do more. Hopefully, in the near future, we can see him in the main roster, but we just got to wait and see when that happens. Then we have Dexter Lumis versus Tahuti Miles. Well, I'll tell you one. Dexter Loomis with that psychotic look. Then we see Adam Cole, who originally was supposed to be at the venue to have a confrontation with Velveteen Dream. Now, Cole felt in his mind that Velveteen Dream doesn't earn the right to have a title shot. He thinks that he he doesn't deserve it at all. But what Adam Cole is more worried about is trying to bring back the legacy, the era of the prophecy, believing that um, Undisputed Era can regain all the gold, they uh, the tag team gold and the NXT and the North American title. So that's what happened. Velveteen Dream was still trying to get it on his very skin, but someone who did not like what he said was Finn Balor, and he's telling me you're being disrespectful for guys who have held that title, even though he hasn't. And of course, Velveteen Dream asked him to be in the match. Now I don't know what Finn Balor was thinking, because his main focus should be against Walter. We would never know if Walter shows up and attacks him, or the Undisputed Era will attack Velveteen Dream. We don't know. So that's gonna happen next week. So we just gotta wait and see on that one too. And then Malcolm Bivens and those two other Hindu brutes show up, giving their message, and they're excited to see who is uh, Matt Riddle's tag team partner. So, but we jump into that now, where we see Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong teaming up to gain the NXT Tag Team Championship against Pete Dunne and the mystery partner. Now, Pete Dunne put himself in a screen telling him that he's sorry he couldn't be there, but he found the perfect partner who's a true stallion, someone that he has been in the ring, and that person was Timothy Thatcher. And Matt Riddle was happy, and he was like so happy that he picked him. And it was a good pick by Pete Dunne. I enjoyed. But keep in mind, Timothy Thatcher has already been signed by WWE. It was just only a matter of time until he's now in the company. So I'm happy, and of course, I'm gonna skip ahead on this one. They've won the match, so he's now gonna be tag team champions with Matt Riddle. But hopefully, we get to see Pete Dunne back. But you know what? I have a thought. They should form a faction together. But Dunne, Riddle, and Thatcher. I mean, what do you guys think? I'm down to see it. And then finally, we got the final words with Tommaso Ciampa, where he has to tell the world how Gargano was better. When he was talking, he was attacked out of nowhere from behind. No one knew. And then all of a sudden, we see Tommaso was lying face down on the ground. Woman's shoes were right there, and then we see a fake saying TikTok. Now we all know who that is. That is Killer Kross. So I'm excited for Killer Kross to be there. So I have to say it was a good show. I enjoyed some of the matches. I enjoyed the match between Tegan Knox and no wait a minute. What matches I enjoyed? Oh yeah, Finn Balor versus Fabian Eichner. Um, the Cruiserweight tournament match. And of course the tag team match. I enjoyed those. Uh, I can't wait to see what more they're gonna do. But hopefully, like I said, we don't know if NXT will win next week, but we'll just get there when we cross the bridge. So that's about it I got for NXT. So let's move on with AEW. Right, so we got AEW Dynamite now. Despite that they didn't win the views, but they did win the ratings. There were some good matches I did enjoy with this one. Now this match was important because it was um, Jake Hager versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title. Basically, my prediction was right about Jericho doesn't care if Jake Hager wins. All he cares about if he wins the title. That title belongs to the Inner Circle. That's always been much of the Bellator the fighters were rooting for Jake Hager to win. So we'll get to that in a bit. So let's start from start to finish. It started with part of the second match for the TNT Championship tournament. Colt Cabana versus Lance Archer. Now this one was a good match. Now this one was a match that kind of changed a little bit of the dynamic. You got someone like Colt Cabana, who is a bit of a comedian, but he also wrestled in Japan, mostly with DDT Pro. Then you got Lance Archer, who is currently, you know, with we know him from New Japan and all this and that. But it is what it is. But it was a good match. I enjoyed it. There were some good moments where Colt Cabana was trying to adjust his style, because you look at Lance Archer, they call him the Monster, Murder Hawk Monster, or whatever he's called. But yeah, it was what I liked about the match. It fit perfectly, and I was like blown away. And I have to say, this match completely was the best one. And I can't say for everything else, but it was good. I enjoyed this one. Then we had Britt Baker versus Cassandra Golden, one of the girls from the training in with QT Marshall. It was a simple match. She lost with the same maneuver that Britt Baker did with Yuka Sakazaki and all this other stuff. But yeah, and of course, Hikaru Shida was there. She's not pleased with what she's been doing, and of course, the rivalry is far from over. Um, then we see like a version of the Brady Bunch style called the Bubbly Bunch. You have Jake Hager, Sammy, Santana Ortiz, and Jericho talking about all this. Like, Sammy is not too thrilled what Matt Hardy said about him, calling him a false god, that he's not a Spanish god, and how Hager is going to win the title, all this and that. And there was some good. It was like a real funny segment, but there'll be other funny segments along the way. Then we had Sammy Hagar versus Sugar D. Uh, Jericho called him Pineapple Pete because of his hair, but it was a good match too. I have to say, I'm not too familiar with Sugar D, but he made a great impression on me on his match. And of course, sometimes there are some of the unknown wrestlers you're not familiarized. They can actually, how do I say, wow you when you see them. And Sugar D is one of those guys. But sadly, the match won by Sammy Guevara. And of course, he's like saying that he's gonna win the tournament, beat Darby Allin. So he decided to continue being Sugar D. But here comes, um, what's his name? Darby Allin, who was scheduled to face him in the tournament. And this is far from over for them. So that's how it is. And then we got Kip Sabian being accompanied by Penelope Ford versus Chuck Taylor, accompanied by Orange Cassidy. Now this match was good too. I enjoyed it because some great moments from Chuck T. Like, he stopped, he does the, and it was great. And of course, I like how Orange Cassidy likes to mimic people, like it, that gets in his way. But out of nowhere, here comes Jimmy Havoc attacking Orange Cassidy, because in real life, Kip Sabian is living with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. But that's how the whole thing began. We always see those type of matches that we seen over the years. But yeah, and then we had Justin Law, another of the jobbers, versus Shawn Spears. Surprise, surprise, Spears won the match. And then we jump into the main event, which was the AEW World Title versus, this is Jon Moxley's first title defense against Jake Hager. Now, the match took place in Daly's Place. Now, I'm going to assume that this took place before the Daly's Place was completely shut down due to the stay order. and JR was doing the commentary on this all by himself. Now, a lot of people are saying that that match wasn't good. I mean, I can see maybe it's a 50-50 on me. I mean, to be honest with you, I feel why put a why put this match on if you're not gonna have an audience? I mean, fans would probably want it. I mean, if I was the AEW, I would try to figure out what matches to do while this is happening, not to interfere, because we do know the blood and guts will be unveiled when we have audiences again. So we just gotta wait and see. But if you must know, Hagar lost, and it was a good match. I like how it is, and we don't know who could be John Moxley's next opponent. But before I go, this Jake Hager comes home. He's locked out of his outhouse because his wife is not too happy that he lost. So basically, it's gonna take him a long while to. So it's like, oh boy, sorry Hagar. Now, if you guys are interested, since I spoke about AEW, certain wrestlers with AEW are participating at the Being the Elite episodes. They had a couple of matches at the Young Bucks compound where the ring is rented from Pro Wrestling Guerrillas. You know, the Independence is currently on hold for a while, but if you guys would like to see those, go see those. Those are good matches to watch. They haven't done any content. I hope they do more because we know they're stuck at home. They can't do nothing. There were some wrestlers that they were able to use because they're currently living in California. Like SU's one of them. The Bucks, Brandon Cutler, um, Peter Avalon. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, then watch it. So I think that's about it for the Wednesday Night War. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I'll be doing more content soon. I haven't done the podcast for a while, so I might do that soon. I'm still working on the upcoming Japanese special edition for DWZ discussions, but I'll get there when we get there. I'll announce it when I'll do it. But for now, I must bid all of you adieu. Stay safe, wash your hands, and goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.